Hello and welcome to the SBP Podcast, the voice of mobile film. I'm your host, Susie Botello, and you are listening to episode 73. This episode is different than the others. There are rules and there are ways, and in this episode of the SBP Podcast, I'm going to talk to you directly because you're important to the conversation of mobile filmmaking, more than you may realize. Three is the biggest number I know. In this episode, I'm going to share why 3 is the biggest number, and then I'm going to share what one of San Diego's film community members said when I interviewed him in 2016. Now, this interview was never published, but you'll be able to listen to it here. Okay, now about 3. 3 is the biggest number. When you realize it, you can get a grip on almost anything you do. You're about to make a movie. You know you've heard it. You need a story. Focus on story. Okay, stories have a beginning. That's 1. They have an end. That's 2. And they have a middle. That's 3. The middle is usually a plot. It's the course of your meal. It's the journey you will take your audience through. Okay, so 3 is how stories make it from point A to B. A is for attraction. A is for attention. A is the first point. You need to first get the interest of people with your story. Like a book has a cover. The cover leads you to open the book. And news stories have a lead or a headline. A is how you get from point A to point B. B is the destination, the message, the call to action. The end of your story should not be the end of the thought. The end is only the beginning. Now, the next story you share may attract the same audience and new ones because you are now a storyteller. How you become a storyteller is through stories, but not just the story you create. It's the story that people talk about, the one that people think about. If that is your story, you're officially a storyteller. Of course, you're also a filmmaker when you finish a film. Of course, you're a business person when someone pays you for something you do. And of course, but it's 2020, and we're aware of how much farther we can go than to just do something. We have more tools and opportunities to go beyond just doing something than ever before in the course of our history. 3 is the biggest and the best number that I've ever known. Want to know why? Because for me, 3 got me here to share something with you as a member of the mobile film community. You know, I founded the International Mobile Film Festival here in San Diego in 2009. I launched it as an idea that I had many years before. I launched it as a festival, a platform for every human on earth, no matter how old, no matter what experience they had, you had, no matter anything other than having a cell phone. It took almost 3 years to receive the first film. Now imagine how long that was. 3 years. How long I was pushing the challenge. How long I spent sharing the reasons, sharing my vision. How many times I went looking for people to submit on YouTube. Like literally, I was on YouTube asking for people to submit their films. On the streets, I stopped people to dare them to make a movie. Like, hi, how are you? Hey, you got a smartphone, a cell phone? Make a movie. You know, I went to events for filmmakers here in San Diego. I went to Comic-Con at like 4 a.m. and I talked to people outside on the streets and waiting in lines. Imagine doing that for 3 years. But 3 is the biggest number. It's not the longest. It's just the biggest. And one day, around 4 a.m., I sat in the Bat Cave. That's what my office with no windows was called because I was a media manager, a camera person, an editor for a company, and there were no windows in my office. So I opened my email one day, and there was a short email from someone with a Spanish name, and in broken English, he sent the link and said he shot it all with the new iPhone 4, and he could prove it if he had to, of course. And he hoped that it would be accepted into the film festival. The first film! Now, my vision of the movies shot with cell phones was ahead of its time. I had spent almost 2 years by 2011, but postponing the film festival because there were no movies coming, because no one would trust my idea to put movies on a big screen as viable. This was it. This was my moment. I felt vindicated in many ways. I had no expectations when I clicked on the link. The film blew me away. Mobile Tarantino was the first film. Oh my God. I was so excited. I thought all the films would be this amazing. But the problem was that it was way over the time limit. The time limit for the first festival was 3 minutes. And this film was like 7.5. So I asked the filmmaker to cut it down to 3. Now that was risky, but you know what? I knew he could do it. And he did. And he even sent it back. I think it was probably about a week later. And he said he was surprised that the story still worked. And it did. And that was how I moved to number 2. First was to create the challenge. Number 2 was to inspire. I was so grateful to Conrad Mess for sharing his film and cutting it down for our film festival. But now I had a film to inspire more to make films. And while it was impressive, it inspired a sponsor for a venue. Now, finally, a place to host the filmmakers and screen their films on a big screen. And after much postponing, finally, on the last weekend of 2012, we held the very first film festival only for films shot with mobile phones. And then came 3. That's you. 3 is you. 3 is community. You are invited to join the community. And you are welcome to stay. You are valued, you're appreciated, and you are impressive with every single story that you share with us. Now, people came from LA to our first film festival, and even someone came out from Macedonia. They shared their stories, and they presented their films. They had fun. They walked the red carpet. They participated in Q&A sessions, and during the awards ceremony, it was a small event. It was a huge success for mobile filmmaking. Now, later, after the end of the whole scenario, right, I called Conrad Mess and I told him, hey, you won. And he congratulated me too. And I said, you won, not me. You're a pioneer. And he said, no, you're a pioneer too. You held the first film festival in the world only for mobile films on a big camera, on a big screen in a live venue. I didn't even know. I questioned him about it. He said, others now know that it can be done. So that was the beginning of community. Now I had a space with a live venue to hold a film festival where only films shot with iPhones could participate, and people all over the world could attend and celebrate it. Now, the filmmakers who came, they continued to interact with each other and with me for some time, but their films inspired more. Their stories inspired others. Sorry that I got really loud there, but I got really excited when I shared that story with you. And if you're remotely curious about mobile film and video, if you're already making videos and films with your smartphone, and if you're a part of the community, or would like to join, you are so welcome. You have arrived. Now think step one way, one lead. Just dive in. The water is just right for you. It's never too soon and it's never too late. But do it now, because now is always the best time to do something that you really want to do. If you wait, if you postpone your will to do it, then you won't. So jump in, and you are here. Now, if you're still following this conversation, thank you. I hope the story kept your attention, and I hope you're inspired. If I had said that I had a list of 12 things instead of 3, then would you have stayed on? I don't know. Now listen, in 2016, I met Anthony De La Cruz. He's an actor in San Diego who works in LA and has made appearances in television and films. I told you about him at the beginning of this episode. He has been pretty busy lately, and he's doing pretty good. But in 2016, he made a music video, and he submitted it to our film festival. He came to the film festival, and he brought his family. He was inspired. I decided to interview him that summer and packed my iPhone 4S at the time with a microphone, and I met him at a Starbucks, but I never published it. The lighting was not so good because the sun was setting, but today, what he said back then is still holding today. The film festival this year has a theme: Hindsight 2020. It's got me going through a lot of photos and videos from over the years. I actually spent the weekend watching all the films from all our film festivals again, and it was nostalgic. It brought many vivid memories about my interactions with the filmmakers too. When I found this interview clip of Anthony De La Cruz, I thought, wow, I need to share this in our podcast. See, last month, I interviewed Anthony and Erin Nabuz at our film festival venue location, and I edited a short video on the story of the festival to promote it. But that also had me digging through older footage, B-roll. So it's all connected, you guys. Listen to Anthony, and then go to our website and follow us on social media and stay close, stay in touch. Come to San Diego to celebrate mobile filmmaking and take advantage of all that we have going on. There are 3 workshops, 26 short films, 2 feature films, plus Jet Brophy is coming to present Blue Moon, the viral feature that was shot in New Zealand with the iPhone. Here's the website, internationalmobilefilmfestival.com. Follow us there. Listen to Anthony De La Cruz talk coming up right now, and you can hear the excitement in his voice, like I'm sure you can hear mine. And listen, he was truly inspired in 2016, and still, he's inspired today.
For the International Mobile Film Festival in 2017, I'm excited because I have an idea for a film. Last year when I participated for my first time, it was amazing. I did a music video. It was just kind of a happenstance. I didn't plan on, making a video for the festival, and I didn't even know the festival existed at the time. Well, I was fortunate enough to participate and be chosen to show a film, and I got to not only meet some amazing people, I got to see other films that were, a little further along in the process. They were obviously there intentionally there with stories to tell and such. And one thing I did learn is that, you can have your mobile phones and all this cool equipment, these cool, whether it's Apple or Android. I prefer Android, by the way. You still have to tell a story. It's still making a film. This is a film festival. So the only difference is you have this kind of compact ability to do high quality filmmaking. I mean, the phones today are so advanced. They're really rivaling, a lot of the major cameras, and the cameras are getting smaller. Well, guess what? Your cell phone is actually getting bigger, which is kind of funny. But this year's festival, I have an idea for 2 films. I'm kind of wrestling on which one I'm going to do. One's a little easier to film, and one's a little bit more challenging. And considering I have a little bit of time, I might try to sneak in getting both films done. But I'm very excited because there's equipment out there that I just got to exposed to at this film festival. You'd be surprised at what devices are being made for your phone. Where you can actually do a handheld handle piece that'll go onto your phone, and you can actually control your phone better than your hand over the screen and such. And so my new phone has this amazing capabilities of not only 4K but the audio recording capability. I just can't wait to experiment with all that. There's so much you can do. One thing I learned at the film festival, I saw a film where the actors were filmed on iPhones. Again, I prefer Android, but anyway, were on iPhones. But everything behind them, everything around them was CGI and green screen. And oh my God, talk about like a Hollywood production. Quality actors, lit really well. Again, the filmmaking is an integral part of it. You want to make a quality film. So the lighting was there, everything was there. And then they built the world around them. You would never know that this entire film was shot with a cell phone, an iPhone to be exact. I myself prefer Android, and I'm set out to really make a quality film with an Android that hopefully will compete with the iPhone filmmakers that have been at it longer than the rest of us Android, I guess, filmmakers. And it was a good point, is that competition can breed some quality work, as we start to kind of go head to head, and I hope that my effort this year is gonna be right up there with the rest of the iPhone filmmakers. The cool part about the International Mobile Film Festival is that anyone can participate. Why? Because everyone pretty much has a cell phone. It doesn't matter what type of phone you're using. It doesn't have to be the top-end, high-quality one, because guess what? It comes back down to filmmaking. If you have a great story, if you can work on the lighting, light it the best way you can, some clarity, good audio where you can actually hear the actors and you don't have like that horn behind me honking. If your effort is there, the story's going to come out. The story will always outweigh all the equipment you use, because why? Your audience doesn't see what you're using. They're just watching what's on the screen. And if you do a great quality video storytelling, it's going to come out, and you're going to see the reactions, and you're going to be very surprised. This year, I got to witness Susie, the founder, creator of the International Mobile Film Festival. I got to see her take this to Comic-Con. If that doesn't tell you anything, that not only is it international, Comic-Con is acknowledging it enough to bring it on as a panel. Hello, they're not going to let anybody on there. So that tells you where this is headed. This festival has been around for over 5 years, so even though I just got involved, it's growing now. It's starting to catch momentum, especially, Comic-Con. Imagine all the people that now saw it. How many more other filmmakers are going to come out, going to come out of the woodwork just because they realize that, oh my God, there's a festival for that? I'm excited. I'm excited to see what comes out of that. Obviously more momentum. I'm excited to see what other filmmakers are making this year, because not only were we exposed to some great films last year, there's motivation, there's learning that happened last year in which you're going to apply this year to your film, which I'm going to do. Again, haven't done a story yet. I'm going to do my first story. Something I learned at the film festival was that, you want to tell a good story. One of the great films that we saw, it was more in a documentary kind of setup, and it was done with some like stills and narration, and it was really impactful. It was really, something that you remembered. Why? Because there was a story in there. You didn't really look at this film as how it was made or, the quality. The film itself captured you. You were interested in this film, and that's what can be done at this point. Your cell phone, your iPhone, your whatever you want to call it. There's different ways to call it. My Android. It's a piece of equipment, yes. You want to get some good stuff, and you want to learn it, because obviously you need to learn your equipment. But in the end, you need to tell a good story. You want to tell a good story. Why? That's what filmmaking is storytelling. And even though, you might think that you're not capable or maybe impossible, it is not. I encourage you, go online, check out some of these films that are being made, with cell phones. One good filmmaker that actually kind of is leading the pack a little bit, which I hope to really compete with in the future, is a gentleman by the name of Conrad Mess. And talk about international. He's not even from, California or the United States. I believe he's from Spain, if I'm correct. I'm sorry. Look him up. Look at his films, and you will see the potential of what can be done. I mean, he did some amazing stuff with his iPhone. I'm going to do some amazing stuff with my Android. And together, this competition of Android, iPhone, it's going to be amazing what comes out on the other end. We'll see what those films are like, So I strongly encourage you to do a little research. Learn your equipment. Learn a little bit of filmmaking. For those filmmakers out there right now who are studying, don't wait for your equipment to get here. Don't wait to, be in the position to buy it. You have it in your pocket right now. Maybe you just need to buy little accessories to make that work, and you'll be surprised at what you can do. I mean, you can shoot in 4K now with phones. So,
what are you holding right now?
And I am holding an actual microphone plugged in to, guess what? An iPhone. You can record audio. You can do everything that a production can do. Of course, you're going to be limited into certain things, but usually limited on your own, limited by your limitations, because at this point it's so new, it's so in development. The sky's the limit. Experiment, push the envelope. Go further. There's each year it progresses. I saw a film where they put the phone on a model train. People think of, GoPros and all that. And I've seen films where they'll stick them places. And, well, guess what? Your cell phone can do that, too. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on that. You've already spent hundreds of dollars on your phone. So start working with that. I mean, all I can say to you is, if you're interested in film, if you're interested in filmmaking, and the only thing that's been holding you back is because you think you need all this stuff, well, you don't. You've got it in your pocket. And like Susie says, you've got the red carpet in your pocket. You participate in this film festival, not only is it fun and you get to meet people from all around the world, and yes, they are from all around the world, you get to walk a red carpet. You get to take photographs. It's like it is a real festival with a real red carpet, real photographs being taken. It's being promoted. And did I mention it was at Comic-Con? Hello?